Sudah? Udah mulai apa belum? Udah ya? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself again. My name is Aprina Mutmainah with study number 20020010087 from Islamic University of Kalimantan Muhammad Arsyad Al-Banjari, Banjarmasin. Today, again, I will explain or rereading for you guys about our subject ISP. Nyambung yang kemarin ya guys. Feature of achievement test. The feature of this test that make it suitable means of evaluating the learner's understanding of the materials are: it involves reduction as well as understanding. It is an integrated task rather than a set of discrete points test focusing on particular subscale, for example, linking clauses. The content is of a similar nature to that of the unit. It is concerned with the movement of a fluid through an enclosed system. The subject matter is probably already known to the learners. It doesn't require knowledge of subject-specific vocabulary of the refrigerator system. It's also given a test written production. The characteristic of learner assessment. There is 4. In any language course, there is a need to assess students' performance at any strategic points. Learner assessment has a great importance in ISP because it deals with the ability to perform particular communicated tasks. The result of this kind of evaluation enables sponsors, learners, and teachers to decide whether how much tuition is required. The evaluation of the learners reflects not just the learner's performance but to some extent the effectiveness or otherwise of the course too. The facility to assess proficiency is, therefore, central to the whole concept of ESP, in spite of the importance which ESP should logically give the assessment of student performance. There is a general lack of discussion or guidance on ESP testing. There are 3 types of assessment. First is placement tests. These are used to place the learner in ESP course most suited to their needs. The placement normally comes at the beginning of the course. Second, achievement test. This tests how well the learners are keeping up with the syllabus and can be administered at any time through the course. Third, proficiency test. This assesses whether or not the students can cope with the demands of a particular situation. For example, study at university or reading technical manual. These different types of tests do not necessarily vary in terms of content. They differ in terms of their initial function. There is a general lack of discussion and guidance on ESP testing. Thus, the lack doesn't imply that there are no tests available in ESP. There is no shortage of available examination in ESP. Proficiency test. Davis and West, 1984, in the introduction to their guide to English language examination, identify the primary purpose of language testing in the 80s as proficiency testing designed to assess whether candidates will be able to perform the language tasks required of them. Such tests, they say, are primarily criterion reference. There is no pass or fail distinction, but rather a scale of degrees of proficiency in the test. An example of such a scale is that used for the British Council ELTS test, which is used to assess a candidate's ability to study at an English medium institution of higher education. Kalau kita hendak kuliah di luar negeri, biasanya ada tes ELT. Ya, I think we need, biasanya perlu sih TOEFL, TOEIC. ELT ini kayaknya buat kalau ikut beasiswa juga perlu. Okay, next. Course evaluation. ESP course is like any courses that its extension is justified as a particular educational need. Through evaluation, the ESP course is actually unfulfilling the needs. The sponsor also needs clear information to be supplied the suitable course and as well further investment and support in the result. Establishing the meeting of aims, evaluating the ESP course is the solution. From many revision of course, the information is gotten and also how to guide the design of similar courses. Showing the various parties involved, course evaluation is a social role. Teacher, learners, sponsor, etc. are the parties involved that their opinions are important. Therefore, aspect of ESP based on Alderson and Waters. In 1983, what how, who, and when. Oh ini ya, ini ada jalan UAS kemarin. Haha. What should be evaluated? How can ESP course be evaluated? Who should be involved in the evaluation? When and how often should evaluation take place? What should be evaluated? Everything that is significant must be evaluated. However, there are two important things that must be constrained: the ability of the teacher to collect the information, the ability of the teacher to use the information for evaluating. Remember, it can be annoy everyone if you collect the information in detail. It is possibly at inconvenience times and expense, and then doing a little or nothing with it. Then the colleges may not override it. The aspect course is to meet two main needs of the learner. The first one is the need as language learners, and second is the need as language user. Through the aims of ESP course, its evaluation is concerned with assessing the extent of their needs. There are two basic questions before assessing the students. A. Is the course fulfilling the language learner's need? B. Has the course fulfilled or is the course fulfilling language user need? Second, how can ASP courses be evaluated? In theory, there are many ways to evaluate ASP course, from simulation to suggestion boxes. However, in practice, the most techniques to evaluate ASP course are test result, questionnaire, discussion, interview, and informal means. Comment casual chat, lain-lain. Okay. The stable techniques are used based on the teaching situation best for gathering the evaluation information is in the first stage process. Then, collected and summarized if it is extensive. It needs to be discussed with all interested parties and conclusion drawn. Finally, it is included in evaluation report as a basis for further discussion and decision making. Third, who should be involved in the evaluation? In every college will vary about who involved in ESP course evaluation. It is likely in practice there are ESP teaching institutions, the ESP teachers, the learners, and the course sponsor. Evaluation is concerned with people evaluation of value and the opinions. It is related with their interest and concern. Getting learner views are more difficult because they don't give real view. Learners thought that the view will influence their assessment. Therefore, the views of learners could support the ESP course and useful for feedback. The way of getting information by asking who you ask and how you ask is important. 4. When and how often should evaluation take place? According to Hutchinson and Water in 28, the most appropriate time to evaluate course are in the first week of the course, at regular interval throughout the course, at the end of course, at the end of the course in each meeting, because it's effective to know how well the course achieved the goals. It's difficult to prescribe how often course evaluation should be done. It needs sensitivity and response in evaluating the course. Besides, it also depends on the characteristic of the individual teaching situation. Conclusion: the value of tests depends primarily on how they are used. Teachers and learners need, first of all, a positive attitude to tests. Since tests are here to stay, at least until we can think of a better alternative, it is no good closing our eyes to them and hoping they will go away. Rather, tests should be recognized for the important role they play in the teaching learning process and every effort made by teacher and learner to get the most out of them. We need to see test results less as an in themselves and more as the starting point for genuine negotiation and interaction between the teacher and the learners and among the learners themselves. Evaluation can fulfill two functions: assessment and feedback. Assessment is a matter of measuring what the learners already know, but any assessment should also provide positive feedback to inform teachers and learners about what is still not known, thus providing important input to content and methods of future work. The fact that most ESP learners are adults, there is no reason why the educational use of tests should not be taken up a stage further, with learners becoming increasingly involved in providing feedback to themselves and their peers and sharing decisions about the most appropriate procedure for evaluating their progress. I think that's all for today. Thank you so much, guys. Goodbye.